very good evening. From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News broadcast. I'm Vidushni Salis Kumar.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charit Prarachi, and here are today's headlines.
The Cabinet of Ministers of the new government has been restricted to 15. The President requests the new cabinet to dedicate themselves to the maximum to implement the points in his manifesto. The leader of the United National Party responds to allegations on the election defeat. The remains of late former Prime Minister D.M. Jayawardena brought to the parliamentary complex today. The Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation bagged 16 awards at the State Television Awards ceremony. The Israeli Prime Minister stresses that he will not resign.
In your local stories this evening, the new Cabinet of Ministers was sworn in before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. The number of ministerial portfolios has been restricted to 15. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was sworn in as the Minister of Finance, Economic Affairs, Policy Development, Cultural, Buddha Sasana, Housing Facilities, Water Supply and Urban Development. Nima Siripala de Silva was sworn in as the Minister of Justice, Human Rights and Legal Reforms. Arumugam Thondaman was sworn in as the Minister of Community, Empowerment and Estate Infrastructure. Dinesh Gunawardena was sworn in as the Minister of Foreign Relations, Skills Development, Employment and Labour Relations. Douglas Devananda was sworn in as the Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Pavitra Vanyarachi was sworn in as the Minister of Empowerment, Women and Child Affairs, Social Security, Health and Indigenous Medicine. Bandula Gunawardena was sworn in as the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Higher Education, Technology and Innovations. Janaka Bandara Thinnakon was sworn in as the Minister of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government. Chama Rajapaksa was sworn in as the Minister of Mahalia Development, Agriculture, Irrigation, Rural Development, Internal Trade, Food Security and Consumer Affairs. Dallas Alha Peruma was sworn in as the Minister of Education, Sports and Youth Affairs. Johnston Fernando was sworn in as the Minister of Roadways, Highways, Ports and Shipping. Vimal Veeravansa was sworn in as the Minister of Small and Medium Scale Enterprise Development, Industries and Supply Management. Mahinda Amaravira was sworn in as the Minister of Passenger, Transport Management, Power and Energy.
ගරු මහින්ද අමරවීර මැතිතුමන් දියුරුම් දෙන ලැබුවේ පළමු කමනා කරන අමාත්‍යාංශය දෙවනුව
S.M. Chandrasena was sworn in as the Minister of Environment and Wildlife, Lands and Land Development.
ගරු එස්.එම්. චන්ද්‍රසේන ගරු වර්ධන අමාත්‍යාංශය මීළඟ ගෞරව
இரண்டாவதாக காணி மற்றும் காணி
Ramesh Patrina was sworn in as the Minister of Plantation Industries and Export Agriculture.
නාමාවලිය මෙසේයි වැවිලි කර්මාන්ත
Prasanna Ranatunga was sworn in as the Minister of Industrial Exports, Investment Promotion, Tourism and Aviation.
ගරු ප්‍රසන්න රණතුංගේ පළමුව කාර්මික අපනයන සායෝජන ප්‍රවර්ධන දෙවන වේවා.
Meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa requests the new cabinet of ministers to dedicate themselves to the maximum to implement the new points in his manifesto. Addressing the new cabinet of ministers, the president said that the people's aspiration of bringing about a new political culture needs to be met with. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said the people expressed displeasure at the political culture that prevailed in the past few years. He said the new government must change the culture and go towards a new era that the people expect. The president said they have difficult challenges to face. Therefore, he called on everyone to extend their maximum support to implement the main points promised to the people in the manifesto.
අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනයේ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් අපි පොරොන්දු වුණු ප්‍රධාන කරුණු ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට ඔබ සමගයේ සහාය මම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
The president emphasized a proper procedure needs to be followed to transform inefficient state institutions into efficient entities. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said this is a task that they can be achieved. The president specifically noted when appointing chairman and directors to state institutions, it is necessary to appoint individuals who are qualified and suitable and who have a professional knowledge. He noted in the manifesto he has stated that selections will be made to fill vacancies through a selections board. If ministers intend to recommend individuals for appointments, the president requested for the recommendations to be forwarded to the selections board.
ඒ ආයතනවලට සුදුසු අය ඉන්නවනම් ඒ අයගේ නම් ඒ තේරීම් මණ්ඩලයට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න.
The president also explained a new procedure on offering employment to fill vacancies of low-ranked posts at state institutions for which skills and qualifications do not have to be heavily evaluated. The president said the vacancy at state institutions should not be filled by the subject ministry only, but all MPs across all electorates should be given the equal right in this respect. He further stated should there be such vacancies to notify the presidential secretariat so that the MPs can be given the opportunity to fill vacancies pending in their electorates.
Parliamentarian Udaya Gammanpilla says he gave intense consideration to the difficulty faced by the President and the Prime Minister when arranging the new cabinet and decided not to accept any ministerial portfolio. He also forwarded a letter to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa clarifying his decision. The letter sent by Parliamentarian Udaya Gammanpilla states, unless a proposal is passed in Parliament with a two-thirds majority calling for its dissolution, as per the Constitution, the President can dissolve Parliament after the 1st of March next year. Thereby, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers appointed today will function for around 100 days. The letter states 38 former Cabinet Ministers who were part of the parliamentary group that supported the President were in anticipation of receiving cabinet portfolios, whilst a number of district party leaders who were not former Cabinet Ministers were also expecting ministerial portfolios. Parliamentarian Udaya Gammanpilla states the first proposal of having a 10-member cabinet was changed to form a 15-member cabinet since it was a highly difficult task. Therefore, being aware of the difficulty, he decided not to accept a ministerial portfolio. He further states he hopes by the decision he took, the difficulty faced by the President and the Prime Minister in arranging the cabinet will be eased to at least a certain extent.
Leader of the United National Party, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says there's absolutely no use in pointing fingers at each other with regard to the election defeat. Speaking at a media briefing held at the party headquarters Sri Lanka today, he said it was he who proposed Sajith Premadasa as their presidential candidate. He noted the party has previously never lost its Sinhala Buddhist vote base. He emphasized what is needed to analyze the reasons for the defeat at the presidential election and rectify the shortcomings instead of pointing fingers at each other. As Buddhist, the leader of the UNP noted, placing the blame is not what should happen and the UNP should move forward as a party. He also said new leaders should come forward considering the future of the party. Those leaders can be entrusted with the task of proposing new party policies. The leader of the UNP also responded to a number of allegations levelled against the party over the past few days. Parliamentarian Harin Fernando, responding to a question, said the management of the party was with a different person and therefore the party mechanism did not function properly. He said as a result Sajith Premadasa did not receive support. The leader of the UNP, Ranil Wickremesinghe, said he certifies that the relevant party mechanism as well as the management at Sri Lanka were fully operational in the run-up to the elections. He rejected claims that the election movement was made defunct. He explained each individual was entrusted with separate responsibilities. He was entrusted with the task of canvassing for the votes of the North and East. He stated he was able to guarantee a high percentage of votes from those areas. However, unfortunately, the vote base in the South had eroded. He pointed out that was the reason for the defeat. Parliamentarian Nalin Bandara, responding to a question, said they have a question on the funds received by the party and on who managed and coordinated the funding. He further stated that they have a suspicion as to whether funds were correctly collected and whether they were deployed in the election propaganda activities. The leader of the UNP, Ranil Wickremesinghe, said with regard to financial activities, the party or its officials had no responsibility as they did not take up the handling of the finances. He rejected the allegations in this regard. He further stated if there is such an allegation, it can be taken up for examination. However, if the allegations is proved to be false, stern actions will be taken.
Meanwhile, a religious ceremony was held today to invoke blessings on Sri Lankan migrant workers who arrived in the country to extend their support to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Mahasangha, migrant workers who have arrived in the country, and a number of dignitaries joined in the religious ceremony. Venerable Dr. Muruthettuwe Anandathera thanked the migrant Sri Lankan workers for coming to Sri Lanka to extend their support to develop the country. The Thera said they are indebted to these workers.
අපි හරි ආදරේ මේ පොළවට නමුත් අර පහුගිය කාලේ හිටපු මේ මිනිස්සු ගිහිලා සාකච්ඡා කරේ කුණු ගේන්න මේ රටට වර්ධනය කරන්න නෙවෙයි මේ රටේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවින් හාමුදුරුවෝ
Venerable Bodhagama Chandimathera said the bhikkhus of the Mahasangha from all four directions of the island took the initiative to bring about the change. He further stated they love the motherland. However, certain individuals tried to bring garbage into the country.
දෙන්නගේ තියෙන අඳෝන හාමුදුරන්ට බැනීම ශාසනයට දොස් කීම විනාශ කරන්න වැඩ කිරීම නිසා තමයි අතිගරු අපේ හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේලා සියලු දෙනාම එක පොදියට එකට එකතු වෙන නිසා යතන්ට පින් දෙන්නම ඕන අතිගරු ජනාධිපති ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා තාම හොඳ කෙනෙක් අවංක කෙනෙක් එතුමාට අපි උදව් කරන්නට ඕන මේ වෙලාව විශේෂයෙන් විදේශීයින් අයයි මේ අය අනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා ඵලයට ආපු
Venerable Dr. Valpula Penandathera said over 95% of the bhikkhus in the country came together. The Thera noted two unreasonable individuals. One individual was former Minister Mangala Samaravira, whilst the other individual was Ranjan Ramanayaka. The Thera observed the behaviour of these two individuals, the words they used, their reprimanding of the Mahasangha were the reasons for all prelates to get together.
A number of ministers who were sworn in today commenced duties today itself. Minister of Education, Sports and Youth Affairs Dalasalaha Peruma assumed duties at the Ministry of Education today. Minister of Passenger Transport Management, Power and Energy Mahinda Amarweera assumed duties at his ministry as well. S.M. Chandrasrena assumed duties as Minister of Environment and Wildlife, Lands and Lands Development. Minister of Women and Child Affairs, Social Security, Health and Indigenous Medicine, Pavitra Vanyaraji assumed duties today. Johnston Fernando assumed duties at the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Arumugam Thondaman, who was sworn in as the Minister of Community Empowerment and State Infrastructure, assumed duties at his ministry at Kollupitiya today. Douglas Devananda assumed duties as the Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Bandula Gunawardena, who was sworn in as the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Higher Education, Technology and Innovations, assumed duties at the Ministry of Higher Education today. Minister of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government, Janaka Bandara Tennekon, also assumed duties at his ministry. Nimal Siripali Silva also assumed duties as the Minister of Justice, Human Rights and Legal Reforms.
A number of UNP parliamentarians expressed their views at a media briefing held today. Parliamentarian John Amaratunga said he specifically would like to request all party members, regardless of whether they were with the party or not at the presidential election, to prepare for the general election. He noted there is no need to get discouraged, although the UNP lost the government and the opposition was able to form a government today. He extended his best wishes to the Cabinet of Ministers that was sworn in today. Former Minister Joseph Michael Pereira emphasized the UNP does not necessarily have to agree to dissolve Parliament before its term is complete. He further stated even in this short time period, the party needs to discuss the reasons for its defeat before they go for the next election. Parliamentarian Vijit Vijaymunisoisa said they need to let the new government proceed and there is no argument in that respect. He hopes the present president will abide by the law and be justifiable. He noted now there aren't two camps in the UNP such as a Sajid camp and a Ranil camp.
එම කණ්ඩායම් දෙකක් දැන්ට නැහැ. වොක්ෂෝල් ස්ට්‍රීට් එකේ එතුමගේ කාර්යාලය එතුමා ජනතාව හමු වුණා. සිරිකොතේ මං හිතන්නේ පහසුකම් සලසන්න බැරි ක්‍රමයක් මොකක් හරි තියෙන්නට ඇති. අපේ සටන අපි කරගෙන ගියා.
Parliamentarian Ajit Mana Perma said they took forward the battle to elect Sajid Premadasa to the presidency with the hope that security will be consolidated and agreements such as the MCC will be implemented.
And the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Aliana Teplitz, met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat today. The Deputy Head of Operations at the US Embassy, Martin Kenvin, and Head of Operations, Anthony Rensselaer, also joined the meeting. Meanwhile, the Japanese Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Sugiyama Akira, also met with the President this morning. Deputy Head of Operations at the Japanese Embassy, Toshihiro Kitamura, and Deputy Secretary Takeshi Ozaki also joined in this meeting.
A number of foreign leaders have extended their good wishes to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The foreign heads of states say they intend to maintain close relations with Sri Lanka. Russian President Vladimir Putin, issuing a release, congratulated the new government, noting that the friendship between Sri Lanka and Russia has been a long-term strengthened relationship. The Russian president expresses his confidence that under President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, bilateral relations in many fields will be strengthened. President Vladimir Putin says regional security and stability needs to be strengthened and that in turn will enable the aspirations of the people to be fulfilled. Meanwhile, Prime Minister of Pakistan Imran Khan, in a tweet on his Twitter account, congratulated new Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, extending his heartfelt best wishes. The Pakistani Premier states his intention is to further enhance the historic friendship and cooperation between the two countries. The Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, also extended good wishes to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Nepalese Prime Minister states he intends to extend bilateral relations between the two countries and extend best wishes for Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to be successful in his prime ministerial endeavours. The present Speaker of the Maldivian Parliament, Mohammad Nasheed, who was a former president, also extended his congratulations to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, saying that it is a joyous moment for him to see his old friend once again becoming the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. The Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka also extended best wishes to new Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. In a tweet, the High Commissioner states his country hopes to build on bilateral cooperation.
And meanwhile, the Sri Lankan Rupavahini Corporation bagged 16 awards at the 2019 State Television Award ceremony. The ceremony was held on a grand scale at the Nelum Pakuna Theatre yesterday. The award ceremony was held for the 14th time. Television productions in the Sinhala, Tamil and English mediums were evaluated. The award for the best magazine program was received by Tharangi Athuraliya, who directed Sukhanama, which was telecasted on Rupavahini. Namal Prasanna, who directed Puduma Hitane Skole, won the award for the best documentary teledrama. The best children's program was Punji Ape Lokayai. It was directed by Tusita Vidanapatirana. The award for the best musical visuals were received by Ravindra Munasinghe for the song titled Nil Ahastale. The best single episode teledrama was Adorned Pension. It was produced by Ananda Abhenayaka. 2 special evaluation awards by the jury were received by Rupavahini. These were for Sominda Tilakasena, who directed a series of programs titled Yatha Rupa, and for Tushari Bolakanda, who was the vocalist for the song Vinaramase Ahasase in the teledrama Mansala. The Best Television Series Awards in the Tamil medium was received by S. Koneshwaran for the teledrama Gautami. Sri Devi, who acted in this teledrama, was awarded the Best Actress. Tyrone Fernando was awarded for the musical direction of the teledrama Gautami. Denuka received the award for the Best Teleseries Singing in the Tamil medium. The lyrics of the Gautami teledrama Rajkumar won the Best Awards for the teledrama Song Lyrics. Thai Thirunal, which was directed by S. Shashikanathan, received the Best Tamil Magazine Program Award, whilst the teledrama titled Kashara received the award for the Best Single Episode Teledrama. The Best Animation Tamil Media Production was the theme of Netra TV. The award was received by the T. Shivanation. The Best Tamil News Reader was Kumaralingam Sambhavi. Sumit Siddhisanayaka received the Skills Award for the classical book authored on Rupavahini. Significantly, 2 lifetime awards presented at the State Television Award ceremony were received by 2 seniors at the national television Rupavahini.
තෘප්ත කිරීමකි.
The first was awarded to Lalita Siribardena, who created Mutuhara to give the children a new television experience.
ரூபவாகினி கூட்டுத்தாபனம் 1972 ஆண்டு பிப்ரவரி மாதத்தில் இது போன்ற ஒரு நாளிலே
The second was awarded to S. Vishwanathan, who is one of the most senior Tamil presenters at Rupavahini.
The remains of late former Prime Minister D.M. Jayawardena were brought to the Parliamentary complex for state honours to be paid this afternoon. The remains lied at the ceremonial hall of the Parliamentary complex from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The President, Prime Minister, Speaker of Parliament and a large group paid their last respects to the late Prime Minister. The mortal remains of late D.M. Jayawardena, who was the 14th Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, were transported by air from his residence at Gampala. The body was laid at the ceremonial hall of the Parliamentary complex, at which President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa paid their last respects. A large group, which included the Speaker, ministers and parliamentarians, political party representatives, ambassadors, public officials and the parliamentary staff, were present to pay their last respects. At 3 p.m, the body was taken back by air to the late Prime Minister's residence at Gampala. The final rites will take place with full state patronage at the Gampala Haliyatha grounds tomorrow evening.
The crest gem to be adorned on the Rupavahini Mahasaya, which was placed at the Kurunagala at Kandaraja Mahavihare for veneration, was brought to the Anuradhapura sacred site this evening. Devotees now get the opportunity to venerate the crest gem Chodamanikya at the Anuradhapura sacred site until the 24th of this month. Devotees had the opportunity to venerate the crest gem with its gold base at the Kurunagala at Kandaraja Mahavihare last night. Thereafter, the crest gem was brought to the Anuradhapura sacred site at 6 a.m. this morning. The crest gem, which was brought up to the Kala Oya Bridge in Anuradhapura, was accepted by the Chief Prelate of the Rupavahini Mahasaya, Venerable Pallegama Hemarathana Thera. The gem was taken to the premises of the Jayasri Mahabodhiya in Anuradhapura, and thereafter the gem was placed in a special repository at the Rupavahini Mahasaya sacred site for public veneration. The gold-based crest gem will be adorned on the pinnacle of the Rupavahini Mahasaya on the 25th of this month and will be unveiled in the following day.
Well, here are a few local news items in brief. The Court of Appeals today ordered that the overseas travel ban imposed on former Presidential Secretary Lalit Veerathunga be lifted until the 13th of March. Attorney at law Kanchana Ratha, appearing on behalf of Veerathunga, requested the court to lift the overseas travel ban temporarily, as his client has received an invitation to visit India with the President. Former Presidential Secretary Lalit Veerathunga, who was found guilty in the silk cloth case, had been sentenced to 3 years rigorous imprisonment and a fine of 5 million rupees by the Colombo High Court. A fire erupted in a storage of chemicals at the Angulna junction along the Colombo Galle main road this morning. The blaze reportedly spread to a nearby tyre shop. The fire was contained by the fire brigade. An individual was killed after being run over by a train commuting between Galle and Mathura. CCTV footage showed the individual sitting on the rail track in the Habaraduwa area.
Farmers and traders say as large stocks of vegetables are being received at the Dambola Economic Centre, a decrease in the prices of vegetables has been observed. Except for a few varieties of the prices, all vegetables have reportedly decreased by 10 to 50 rupees. Vegetables grown in low-country farmlands are being received at the Dambola Economic Centre these days. In addition, traders say beans are also being received in large stocks. They point out over the past 3 days, with the reduction in the price of beans, the prices of other vegetables also decreased. Our regional correspondent states other vegetables are also being received in large quantities at the Dambola Economic Centre. It is reported farmers had quoted high prices, however the vegetables could not be sold for the high figures. The traders point out although large amounts of vegetable stock are being received at Dambola Economic Centre, the number of traders who regularly purchases these stocks is low, and this is another reason for the decrease in prices.
In your stock update, the all shares price index closed at 6,119.27 points, dropped by 19.06 points, and the S&P SL20 index closed at 3,022 points, also dropped by 6.35 points at the end of trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Turnover was over 925 million rupees.